Hello everyone, welcome to LexTalk.World talk show presented by Clickway Creators. Today we have Miss Lubinisha with us. Lubinisha Saha is the head of legal and compliance for India and South Asia Airbus. She is the focal point for legal matters across divisions, functions and compliance in the region. Since the past year, she had led many compliance initiatives like I Own Compliance, hashtag Speak Up, campaigns and a compliance video with leadership messaging to build a coherent compliance culture in India. Airbus India legal and compliance team has been adjudged as top in the House legal teams in 2019 by Legal 500. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks,
We are
Abhishek.
pleased to have you with us today.
Thank you.
So please give us a brief about your personal and professional background.
Sure. So thank you for having me, firstly. As you rightly mentioned, I head legal and compliance for Airbus in India and South Asia. I've been with them for a year now, a little over a year. Prior to this, I was with GE, oil and gas, for about 8 years. My focus primarily has been legal compliance, regulatory matters, governance, etc. I've been about 16 plus years in the profession, both in-house as well as law firms. So it feels like a long, long time. On the personal side, I have two boys, 7 and 3, and it's interesting times given that we're all trying to manage home, work, and everything. And it's interesting to say the least, but it's all good. Other than that, on a personal front, I do enjoy painting. I enjoy writing. I have a blog, and I'm trying to do a couple of other things while working as well to keep my hobbies alive. So yeah, that's what's happening currently.
Wow, so you're very creative. So how the aviation and aerospace sector in India and Asian region is impacted due to COVID-19? And what solutions do you foresee from a legal perspective?
Sure, I think COVID has taken us all by surprise, and every sector, every industry is hit. Needless to say, but obviously aviation and hospitality and sectors linked to these sectors have a great impact, direct impact, and even strongly so. But the good part is aviation is here to stay, Abhishek. I think you cannot have a life, or cannot imagine a life without aviation and aerospace.
Yes.
And it's just a matter of time when the recovery will soon be there. And just to give you some perspective, I think there is a lot of knowledge which we're trying to also build, that flying is actually very safe. For example, if you and me talking in an environment which is static and you and me on a flight, it's safer to be on the flight because the HEPA filters filter air in such a way that it is much safer to travel on a flight. So I think there is a lot of belief that it has to bounce back. It will bounce back. There is no other way. And just from an industry perspective, if you see, it's currently a single digit number which is actually flying in our region. So the possibility and the probability of numbers going up is huge. With more airports coming in, with more smaller cities trying to have airports, more population flying. So the growth is inevitable. The growth is there. It's a question of how we go about this crisis and land on the other side, which we will. On what we are doing today as a function, I think multiple things. We are obviously working closely with the government on advocacy measures. Cash is key. Cash is critical for everybody. I think we're working on cost saving measures and trying to do everything which is right to be able to ensure that we can tide over this time. Apart from that, there are multiple initiatives to look at risk from a new world, right? I mean, it's all not what we had envisaged it to be. Data privacy, data issues. How do I build a compliance culture when everybody is working remotely? How do I ensure that everything is safe, everything is working coherently? So it's a different world, that the risks are changed. So to keep adapting and enabling in this environment. So I think it's a good place to be. I think it's a stepping stone, like a challenge to look at it that way. And we'll come out on the other side. I think there is no two ways about it. And aviation is here to stay, and it will, is the point.
Completely agree with you. As a legal professional, what are the three core values you truly believe in?
I think as a professional, number one is you need to be very positive. You need to be very real. There is no need to be too much of a lawyer, but you have to be a solution provider. I think organizations today are looking to solve for problems. They're not looking for people who will just say a yes and no. They're looking for enablers. They're looking for problem solvers. And I think hard work is key for any professional. I tell this to everybody who joins the team, who I meet today in the legal profession, that you need to work hard. There is no two ways about it. We've all worked hard. We've all done the research. We've all done the long hours. You need to work hard. You need to be able to have that learning curve and then come on the other side. But you have to be a smart worker in addition to being a hard worker today. So to understand the industry in which you're operating, the business, you have to think laterally, think beyond being a lawyer, and then come about with a solution which is only going to enhance you and your role as a legal professional. I think that's my advice to everybody who is working in this field as to how to enhance your own self.
That's a great learning for our young legal professionals. So, what is the role of a general counsel today, and what are your views on leadership?
Yeah, so I think that's a good question. So, as a role as a general counsel, earlier it was not a seat at the table. I think historically speaking, today you have a seat on the table. You're valued for your inputs. You, in most organizations, either report to the CEO or globally, which means you're equivalent to every other function or division, and you're the same amount of stature like anybody else. Number two, from a general counsel perspective, I think when I joined Airbus, we first looked to define our vision. And the vision we came up as a team was that you need to be a business enabler. You can be a business supporter, but that's historic, right? I think you have to enable business. You need to enable business by not only saying a yes, because saying a yes is very easy, right? And it's not the right thing to do as well. You have to be a business enabler to be able to provide risk abated solution, not
Right.
just solutions, but you can't have a risk free solution because you won't be in business. You have to have a risk abated solution for a long term. And you have to also build culture, the culture of compliance, the culture of ethics, the culture of integrity, which is very, very key to any organization. So for me, these three pillars are very, very important, wherein you have to understand the business. There is no two ways about it. You have to enable the business. You have to solve for risk. And you have to come up with preemptive solutions, not reactive, but proactive. You have to have your checks and balances much in place. It's not about being litigation or solving something after it's done. You have to think about where the world is moving to, think about the risk which will come with it, and what are the checks and balances you will need to have to ensure that the risks are less and you can actually solve and grow business despite the circumstance. I think that's, as a general counsel, that's what I look to define my role as, and for the team to look towards as a shared vision. I think that's very critical for anybody.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that is what really required in terms of leadership. So, what does diversity and inclusion means to you?
Yeah, I think as a woman professional, I've often encountered this question, and I have very strong views on it, and rightly so. I think diversity and inclusion are two things which go coherently. You can't say, I want just diverse candidates, I want women professionals in my organization and not have an inclusive environment, right? And you have to look at hiring anybody for the right reasons, including women. It can't be that a tick in the box or a percentage criteria or because it looks good in the team. No, you hire based on meritocracy. There is no two ways about that. Nobody wants a free card on the table. You hire based on merit, but you have to also hire because of the diversity women bring on the table, be it their personality, be it their qualities, be it the diversity they will add to the team as well. I think that's very critical. And the organizations have to have an inclusive environment they provide. It has to be, like you can't say, I will have a lot of women working late and not have taxi facilities or creches or flexible working hours. You have to have an environment which is inclusive, which leads to more diversity and more inclusive methods. And I think what is very, very critical to everybody, which I keep saying, and it's one of the articles I've written as well, that you need to get away from a subconscious bias, the bias about, which is not conscious today, but it's very subconscious and it's very innate. So you need to get out of the subconscious bias and treat everybody with the respect which they deserve, which any human being deserves, right? And the idea is to move from gender equality, because equality is when somebody is not equal and you're trying to make them equal, to gender neutrality, right? Moment gender becomes a non-issue, and it becomes a non-issue because it's such an inclusive environment where everybody is working coherently. That's the world to move to. I think that's where we all need to work very hard. And I tell it to everybody that, having more women in leadership positions, and where women promote women, that's also very important. It's not like, that you hear this thing often that women bosses are really bad, but women should be able to promote women and just to be able to build that environment. I think women also are very hard on themselves. As you hear so much happening right now. They're working from home, they're managing homes, they are working, they're managing kids, they're doing everything. And I think women are very hard on themselves as well. So I think it's okay to let go, okay to seek for support, okay to talk about things, to ask for mentorship, to ask for what you want to grow. I mean, if you're taking a maternity break, it doesn't mean you're off the growth path. I think women also need to ask for what they deserve, and rightly so. And organizations need to support that. I think it's a quid pro quo at all ends. I think it's a very topic which is very important to me. So I love talking about it as well. So thank you for that.
Thank you. So thank you so much, Lubinisha, for sharing such great insights with us. And we look forward to having a chat with you again in the future on some other trending topics in international legal industry.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Right. And for our viewers, if you like this chat, please like and share this video, and also subscribe to Wave Creators YouTube channel to appreciate what we do and have more coming from industry leaders. This is Abhishek for LexTalk.